The HMS Defiant slipped through the dimensional rift, its massive hull emerging into the shimmering expanse of the Orion Nebula.
Captain Jinho Park stood tall on the command deck, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. This was it, the moment humanity had been preparing for.
The first deliberate incursion into Talon Imperial space.
Transition complete, Captain, reported Navigator Unji, her fingers dancing across her console.
All systems operational. Jinho nodded, studying the breathtaking view on the main screen.
The nebula's gases swirled in brilliant blues and purples, masking their presence from casual observation.
Perfect for their mission.
Stealth systems? He asked.
Lieutenant Commander Hajun looked up from his station. Operating at 98% efficiency, Captain.
The Talon sensor buoys haven't detected our presence. Jinho allowed himself a small smile. The Defiant was humanity's masterpiece, a kilometer-long behemoth housing weapons that could level cities and experimental technology that defied conventional physics. The Talons had dominated the galaxy for centuries with their technological superiority, treating humans as primitives barely worth diplomatic consideration.
That was about to change. Take us deeper, Jinho ordered. Setting course for the Caldera sector.
The massive engines of the Defiant pulsed silently as the ship moved forward with impossible grace for its size. Every crew member felt the weight of responsibility on their shoulders.
300 souls representing 20 billion humans back home.
Chief Engineer Minji approached the captain, datapad in hand.
The new drive core is performing beyond expectations, sir.
We could push it harder if needed.
Jinho shook his head.
No need to show all our cards at once, Chief.
Let's stick to the mission parameters.
The mission was simple in concept but audacious in execution: penetrate Imperial territory, gather intelligence on their defenses, and demonstrate human technological advancement by allowing themselves to be spotted just enough to create confusion before disappearing again. The real purpose ran deeper. The United Systems Council had grown tired of Talon condescension.
For too long, humanity had been forced to accept unfavorable trade terms and restricted territories. The Council wanted to send a message: humans were no longer to be underestimated.
Sir, called Security Officer Sanghun.
We're approaching the first Imperial patrol route. Jinho moved to the tactical station. Show me.
The display revealed the elegant, tapered forms of 3 Talon cruisers moving in standard formation.
Their silver hulls gleamed even in the dim light of distant stars.
They have no idea we're here, whispered Lieutenant Ijun, awe evident in her voice.
Not yet, Jinho replied. But they will. When we want them to.
The bridge fell silent as the Defiant ghosted past the patrol, close enough that a traditional ship would have been immediately detected. The new phase shift technology working perfectly, bending light and energy around their hull, rendering them virtually invisible to Imperial sensors. Jinho felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. Just 5 years ago, such technology had been theoretical. Now it was reality, developed in secret by human scientists determined to level the playing field. Message from command, encrypted channel, announced Communications Officer Ji Young. Jinho moved to his private terminal and entered his authorization codes.
Admiral Song's face appeared on the screen.
Progress report, Captain, she said without preamble.
We've crossed the border successfully, Jinho replied. No detection so far. Heading for the first observation point. Admiral Song nodded. Good.
Remember, this is about information gathering, but also psychological impact.
The timing of when you reveal yourselves is critical. Understood, Admiral. The diplomatic corps is standing by for the aftermath. Good hunting, Captain Park. The screen went dark. Jinho returned to his position overlooking the bridge. His crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person aware of the historic nature of their mission. Captain, called out Sensor Officer Dae-hyun.
I'm detecting a massive energy signature ahead. It appears to be an Imperial installation much larger than our intelligence suggested.
Jinho leaned forward. Show me.
The screen shifted to display an enormous space station, easily 5 times the size of Earth's largest orbital facility. Hundreds of ships moved around it like busy insects.
That's their 7th Fleet headquarters, Jinho realized. We've found something valuable already. He made a quick decision. Record everything.
Full sensor sweep, but maintain stealth protocols.
The Defiant edged closer, its advanced systems capturing detailed information about Imperial defenses and capabilities. Sir? Ha-Jun asked quietly. When do we let them know we're here? Jinho's eyes never left the screen as he watched the unsuspecting Imperial forces. Not yet, Commander.
Let them enjoy their sense of security a little longer.
The panic will be all the greater when they realize we've been here all along.
The mighty human vessel continued its silent advance into the heart of Imperial space, carrying with it the hopes of humanity and the seeds of fear for an empire that believed itself invincible.
Grand Admiral Q1's meditation was interrupted by the urgent chime of his private communicator.
His eyes snapped open, irritation visible on his face. No one dared disturb him during his personal hours unless the matter was critical.
What is it? He demanded, activating the holographic display.
The worried face of Fleet Commander Taemin appeared. Forgive the intrusion, Excellence, but we have a situation that requires your immediate attention.
Q1 rose from his meditation mat. Speak plainly. Our border sensors in the Orion sector detected an anomaly.
A ship of unknown design briefly appeared, then vanished from our scans.
Sensor malfunction, Q1 dismissed. That was our first assumption, Excellence. But then it happened again, closer to the Caldera outpost.
This time, our systems captured partial readings. Taemin's fingers moved off-screen, and the display changed to show a grainy image of a massive vessel unlike any in the Imperial database.
Q1 leaned closer. How large? Preliminary estimates suggest at least 1 kilometer in length.
Energy readings indicate advanced weapons systems.
The Admiral's 4 heart chambers quickened their pace. And you're certain it's not one of ours? Not a test vessel from the Imperial Science Division? Confirmed, Excellence. We've checked with all departments.
The design architecture matches nothing in our records, though there are some similarities to human engineering principles.
Humans? Q1 scoffed. Impossible.
Their technology is centuries behind ours. They barely manage interstellar travel with their primitive drives.
Nevertheless, Excellence, the signature matches no other known species.
Q1 paced his chamber, mind racing.
Where was it last detected?
That's the concerning part. It appeared deliberately within range of our sensor station at Caldera for exactly 6.8 seconds, just long enough to be recorded, then disappeared again.
Our analysts believe this was intentional. You mean this vessel wanted us to see it? Yes, Excellence.
Q1 felt a cold sensation spread across his scales. The Talon Empire had maintained unquestioned military dominance for 12 centuries.
The mere suggestion that another species could penetrate their borders undetected was unthinkable. Show me the complete sensor data, he ordered.
The hologram shifted to display scrolling numbers and energy signatures. Q1 studied them carefully, his military training allowing him to see patterns where others might not.
This cannot be correct, he muttered. These readings suggest technology that should be theoretically impossible. Our scientists have confirmed the data's authenticity, Excellence. The Admiral made a quick decision. Dispatch the 3rd Fleet to the last known coordinates. Full combat readiness. Taemin looked startled. The entire 3rd Fleet? That's over 70 warships. If this vessel is what I fear it might be, 70 ships may not be enough. After Taemin's image disappeared, Q1 moved quickly to his secure terminal and entered his highest clearance codes. He needed to access files that few in the Empire even knew existed. The terminal displayed information about a human research initiative that Imperial spies had reported 3 years earlier. At the time, the reports were dismissed as human exaggeration. The project, codenamed Phantom Walk, theoretically involved bending light and energy around a vessel's hull.
The Empire's leading scientists had declared such technology impossible given the known laws of physics.
Impossible until now, it seemed.
The Admiral's private transport rushed into Imperial Command, where controlled chaos had erupted. Officers moved with urgent purpose as updates flowed in from across the sector.
Report, Q1 demanded as he entered the command center. Defense Minister Ji Woo approached. The situation has escalated, Excellence.
The unknown vessel has been detected near 3 different Imperial installations in the past hour. Each time, it appears just long enough to be confirmed before vanishing again.
It's toying with us, Q1 realized. There's more.
We've detected unusual scan patterns at each location. This vessel appears to be gathering intelligence on our defensive capabilities.
Q1's face darkened. Have we attempted communication? Yes, Excellence. No response.
The grand holographic display at the center of the room suddenly flickered as a junior officer called out, "Contact."
Unidentified vessel has appeared near the 7th Fleet headquarters.
All eyes turned to the display as a massive ship materialized seemingly from nowhere. Its design was unmistakably human in origin, but far more advanced than anything their intelligence had suggested possible.
Magnify, ordered Q1. The image enhanced to show the vessel's hull markings, HMS Defiant. A human ship, Ji Woo whispered.
Alert the Emperor, Q1 said quietly. And order all available ships to converge on that location. The ship remained visible just long enough for its image to be captured by every sensor array in the region before disappearing once more. Fear and emotion almost forgotten by the Empire's leadership began to spread through Imperial Command.
If the humans could build one such vessel, how many more might they have? And what other technological breakthroughs had they achieved in secret? In his quarters that night, Grand Admiral Q1 stared at the accumulated data.
The Defiant had appeared and disappeared 6 more times, each manifestation closer to critical Imperial infrastructure.
The pattern was clear: this was a deliberate demonstration of capability and a warning.
For the first time in his long career, Q1 drafted a message to the Emperor that contained 3 words never before used in Imperial military correspondence: threat level unknown. Captain Jinho watched the tactical display with quiet satisfaction. The red dots representing Talon warships moved in increasingly erratic patterns, breaking their normally perfect formations as they searched desperately for the Defiant. They've deployed another 50 ships to Sector 7, reported Strategic Officer Misuk, her eyes never leaving her console. That brings their total search force to over 200 vessels.
Jinho nodded.
And still they find nothing unless we wish to be found.
For 3 days, the Defiant had executed a carefully choreographed dance through Imperial territory.
The massive human vessel would appear briefly near important Talon installations, allow its image to be captured by Imperial sensors, then activate its phase shift technology and vanish again. Each appearance was calculated to cause maximum confusion and concern among the Imperial forces. "Sir," called Communications Officer Ji Young.
"We're picking up some interesting chatter on Imperial channels.
They've raised their alert status to something called extinction level.
I believe that's their highest defense condition." Jinho couldn't help but smile. For one ship?
They must be terrified. With good reason, said Commander Hajun, approaching with a datapad.
Our sensors have mapped 70% of their defensive network now.
Their technology is advanced, but they've grown complacent.
There are gaps we could exploit if it ever came to actual conflict. The captain moved to the main viewport, watching as the Defiant glided silently past an Imperial patrol vessel.
The Talon ship, with its elegant silver hull and curved wings, was barely 500 meters away, close enough that Jinho could make out individual weapon ports, yet its sensors detected nothing.
"How's the crew holding up?" Jinho asked his first officer. "Morale is excellent," Hajun replied. "Everyone understands the importance of this mission. Many have family who suffered under Talon trade restrictions or colonial policies." Jinho understood that sentiment all too well.
His own parents had lost their farming settlement when the Talons had arbitrarily redrawn territorial boundaries 20 years ago. Thousands of human colonists had been forced to abandon homes and businesses with minimal compensation. "Captain," called Sensor Officer Daehyun suddenly. "I'm detecting a massive energy surge ahead."
The Talons are deploying some kind of sensor net.
The tactical display updated to show a web of energy forming between Imperial vessels, creating an interlocking detection field designed to catch anything moving through the region.
Impressive, Jin Ho admitted. Can we bypass it? Chief Engineer Min Ji stepped forward.
Yes, but it would require pushing our phase shift generators to 115% capacity. That would leave thermal signatures they might detect if they know exactly what to look for.
Jin Ho considered his options.
The mission parameters allowed for flexibility, but also required him to avoid any direct confrontation. The Defiant was powerful, but it wasn't invincible. Plot a course through these coordinates, he decided, marking points on the display where the sensor net appeared weakest.
And prepare the package. Ha-Jun raised an eyebrow. The package, sir? Are you sure?
We were instructed to save that for our final demonstration.
Plans change, Commander.
The Talons are adapting faster than expected.
That shows intelligence and resourcefulness. I respect that, but we need to stay ahead of them.
The package was a specially designed probe containing false sensor readings and electromagnetic disturbances calibrated to confuse Imperial tracking systems. When deployed, it would create ghost images of the Defiant appearing in multiple locations simultaneously.
Launch the package on my mark, Jin Ho ordered.
Then take us through the sensor net at 1/4 speed.
The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency.
The probe launched silently, immediately beginning to broadcast its confusing signals. On the tactical display, dozens of false Defiant signatures blossomed across a wide area.
Imperial fleet is responding, Nisuk reported with satisfaction. They're splitting up to investigate multiple contacts.
The real Defiant slipped through the gap in the sensor net, its phase shift technology straining but holding against the increased detection field. Once clear, they returned to normal stealth operations.
Sir, called Ji Young. We're intercepting a priority transmission to all Imperial vessels. Decrypting now. The main screen displayed the translated message, all units converge on Imperial capital. Unknown vessel may target Emperor. Maximum speed.
Jin Ho's eyes widened slightly.
They think we're an assassination squad?
It appears they're growing desperate, Ha-Jun observed. They can't explain our technology, so they're assuming the worst possible intentions.
Perfect, Jin Ho said softly. This creates an opportunity.
Plot a course for their central communications hub in this sector.
If they're pulling ships to protect their capital, the hub will be vulnerable. The Defiant changed course, moving deeper into Imperial territory.
Jin Ho returned to his command chair, feeling the weight of the mission. What had begun as a demonstration of technological superiority had evolved into a psychological campaign that was undermining the very foundations of Imperial confidence. How long until we reach the communications hub, he asked.
3 hours at current speed, Navigator Unji replied. Jin Ho nodded. Good.
Once there, we'll let them see us clearly. I want them to understand that we could target any facility we choose. The mighty ship continued its silent progress through enemy space, an invisible hunter that appeared only when it wished to be seen, leaving fear and confusion in its wake. Emperor Duhyun's private chambers had never before hosted an emergency council meeting. The ancient protocols of the Talon Empire required that official gatherings take place in the Grand Hall, where the voices of advisors could echo properly beneath the vaulted ceiling. But these were not normal times. 7 of the Empire's most powerful leaders now sat in a tight circle, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of security lamps. All external communication devices had been banned from the room. Speak plainly, Emperor Duhyun commanded, his ceremonial robes replaced by a simple military uniform.
How is one vessel causing such chaos?
Grand Admiral Q1 stood, activating a small holographic projector. The image of the human battleship Defiant rotated slowly above the table.
Your Eminence, this vessel has penetrated our most secure regions with apparent ease.
It appears and disappears at will, demonstrating technology we believed impossible. Yesterday, it materialized within visual range of the Imperial communications hub, remained visible for exactly 40 seconds, then vanished again.
Science Minister Hygiene leaned forward. We've analyzed the sensor readings.
The ship appears to be using some form of phase shift technology that bends light and energy around its hull. Our theoretical division proposed such technology 50 years ago but concluded it was physically impossible.
Clearly, the Emperor said dryly, the humans disagree with your assessment. Defense Minister Jiwoo spoke next.
The greater concern is the psychological impact.
We've intercepted communications from 3 vassal worlds requesting immediate reinforcement of their defense fleets.
They believe this human vessel may be the vanguard of an invasion force.
Is it? The Emperor asked.
We don't believe so, Q1 replied.
If the humans intended war, they would have struck already. This appears to be a demonstration of capabilities. Intelligence Director Junho cleared his throat. There is another problem, Your Eminence. Word is spreading through the Empire. Despite our efforts to contain information, trading vessels have observed our fleet movements.
Markets on 6 worlds experienced panic selling yesterday as rumors spread about human technological advancements.
The Emperor's face darkened.
What of our subject species?
The Kaltorans? The Vex? 3 representatives have already requested emergency audiences, Foreign Minister Seo Yoon reported.
The Kaltoran Archon specifically asked if we could still guarantee their protection under our treaties.
After 12 centuries of Talon supremacy, our position is being questioned because of one ship?
The Emperor's voice was dangerously quiet. One ship that has outmaneuvered our entire defense network, Q1 pointed out. A ship that could, theoretically, appear in this very room if its technology is as advanced as it appears.
A heavy silence fell over the group as they considered this disturbing possibility. What do the humans want? The Emperor finally asked.
They've made no demands, sent no messages, Intelligence Director Junho replied.
They simply watch. And allow us to occasionally see them watching. Science Minister Hygiene's personal terminal chimed with an urgent alert.
Her face paled as she read the message.
The Defiant has just appeared again, she announced.
This time directly above our primary shipyards at Kellner. The Emperor stood abruptly.
Show me.
The holographic display shifted to a live feed from the shipyards. The massive human vessel hovered majestically above the facility where the Empire's most advanced warships were constructed.
Workers and security personnel could be seen pointing upward in alarm. Are our weapons targeting the vessel? Defense Minister Jiwoo demanded.
Yes, but Shipyard Command reports they cannot establish a targeting lock, Hygiene replied.
Their systems show the ship is simultaneously in multiple locations.
As they watched, the Defiant remained perfectly still for exactly 1 minute before shimmering and disappearing once more.
They're studying our shipbuilding capabilities, Q1 said grimly.
Learning our strengths and weaknesses. The Emperor returned to his seat, his expression unreadable.
For the first time in his 300-year reign, he faced a threat he could not simply order destroyed. What options do we have? He asked quietly.
The council members exchanged uncomfortable glances. We could attempt to establish communication, suggested Foreign Minister Seo Yoon.
Perhaps they would respond to a direct message from Your Eminence. And show weakness?
Military Commander Minho objected.
We should deploy our experimental quantum detection grid. It might penetrate their stealth technology.
That grid is theoretical at best, Science Minister Hygiene countered.
And would take months to implement.
The Emperor raised his hand for silence. We have built our empire on the foundation of technological superiority. Now we face a species that may have surpassed us in at least one critical area.
If the humans can build one such vessel, they can build more. He stood again, moving to the window that overlooked the glittering capital city.
Prepare my personal communication channel, he ordered.
I will address the Empire tonight.
We must control the narrative before panic spreads further. As the council members departed to carry out his orders, Emperor Duhyun remained at the window, his reflection faint against the darkening sky. For the first time in centuries, the Talon Empire faced an uncertain future. And it had begun with a single human battleship crossing into Imperial territory. The seventh day of the Defiance mission in Imperial space dawned with a sense of anticipation on the human vessel. Captain Jinho Park had gathered the senior officers in the tactical room to outline the final phase of their operation. The Talons have committed nearly half their fleet to hunting us, he explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing Imperial ship movements.
Their communication networks are flooded with contradictory orders. 3 vassal species have formally requested clarification of their protection status.
In short, we've achieved our primary objective of demonstrating our technological capabilities.
Commander Haju nodded. Intelligence reports the Imperial Council held an emergency session in the Emperor's private chambers yesterday. That hasn't happened in over 3 centuries.
Then the time has come for the final act, Jinho declared.
We've shown them what we can do.
Now we deliver our message.
The captain outlined his plan.
After 6 days of appearing and disappearing at strategic locations throughout Imperial territory, the Defiant would make one final, dramatic appearance at the heart of Talon military power. 4 hours later, Navigator Unji announced, approaching Cygnus Station, Captain. Their defense grid is at maximum alert. As expected, Jinho replied calmly.
Prepare to disengage phase shift systems on my mark. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements betraying only slight tension.
Though the Defiant was heavily armed, they were about to place themselves within firing range of the Empire's most formidable military installation. Jinho stood from his command chair.
Tactical view.
The main screen displayed Cygnus Station, a massive artificial structure that served as the Empire's primary military headquarters outside their homeworld. Hundreds of warships patrolled its perimeter, their sensor arrays sweeping space for any sign of the elusive human vessel.
Phase shift generators ready to disengage, reported Chief Engineer Minji. Jinho took a deep breath. Disengage stealth systems. Full visibility.
The Defiant shimmered into existence less than 10,000 kilometers from Cygnus Station, practically on its doorstep by space warfare standards.
The reaction was immediate.
Alarms blared across Imperial channels as weapon systems automatically targeted the human vessel. We're being scanned by multiple targeting arrays, announced Tactical Officer Sang-hoon.
Detecting weapons locked from 17 Imperial vessels. Maintain position, Jinho ordered. Shields at maximum, but weapons systems remain powered down. Let them see we're not here to fight. Communications Officer Ji-young turned from her console. Captain, we're receiving hundreds of transmissions.
It seems every Imperial commander wants to be the one to demand our surrender. Ignore them, Jinho said firmly.
Open a channel on all Imperial frequencies. Ji-young's fingers moved across her console. Channel open, sir.
You're broadcasting across their entire communication network. Jinho straightened his uniform and stood tall. When he spoke, his voice was clear and confident.
This is Captain Jinho Park of the United Systems ship Defiant. For the past 7 days, we have conducted navigational exercises within Imperial space.
We have observed your military installations, studied your fleet movements, and tested our technological capabilities against your defenses.
We have now completed our mission and will be departing Imperial territory.
He paused, allowing his words to sink in across thousands of Imperial vessels and installations. The United Systems extends an invitation to the Talon Empire to send diplomatic representatives to neutral coordinates, which we are transmitting now. For too long, our civilizations have existed in a state of cold hostility. We believe it is time to establish more formal relations as equals.
Jinho nodded to Ji-young, who transmitted the coordinates for a proposed meeting in neutral space. We will await your response for 14 standard days. We trust you will choose dialogue over continued tension. Defiant out.
Before any Imperial vessel could respond, Jinho gave his final order of the mission.
Engage special drive sequence. Engineers Minji and Daehyun activated the Defiant's revolutionary propulsion system.
The massive human vessel began to glow with brilliant blue energy, creating a spectacular light display that Imperial sensors recorded in minute detail, a final, deliberate demonstration of technological prowess. The light built to an almost blinding intensity before the Defiant vanished from normal space, bypassing conventional jump points entirely.
On Cygnus Station, Grand Admiral Q1 watched the sensor recordings in stunned silence.
The human vessel had not simply activated a stealth system or jumped to hyperspace, it had apparently folded space itself in a manner their scientists had theorized but never achieved.
"Orders, Excellence?" asked his aide. The Admiral stared at the empty space where the Defiant had been. "Inform the Emperor immediately." And he hesitated. "Prepare a diplomatic response team."
In the command chamber of the Imperial Palace, Emperor Duhyun received the news with a mixture of rage and reluctant respect. The humans had not only penetrated Imperial defenses but had dictated the terms of future interaction. As reports flooded in from across the Empire, vassal species demanding reassurance, military commanders requesting new orders, scientists urgently analyzing the Defiant's capabilities, the Emperor made a decision that would change the course of galactic history.
"Send word to the humans," he told Foreign Minister Seo Yun. "We will meet them."
The era of unquestioned Talon superiority had ended.
And it had all begun with a single human battleship crossing into Imperial territory.